every character is struggling to love, and struggling to find a way of accepting or loving themselves. And I think that's probably Phil's tragic flaw, is he's repressed and destroyed the part of himself because of that early loss. That's what struck me in that scene. You know, your scenes with Coley towards the end, when you're talking about Bronco Henry. And I thought, this man only has a very, very short, brief experience of love.
When he was 19, he was sort of trampled to death. That was it. I imagine the love, from adoration to love, had probably only been a year or so.
And that's where the tension with George comes. You know, George finds love and he can't bear it because George is released. George is free.
Yeah.
And that's why Rose becomes an object of
jealousy,
rage, aggression, dominance. Let's talk about your collaborators, and let's start at the top.
Yeah.
Jane Campion, the great Jane Campion. How did this come to you? Did she send it to you? Did she?
I can't fully remember, he says, anxiously looking at Tanya Sagachin, who was very much at the beginning of the gestation of all that is you've just watched tonight. I think I remember it being someone saying that she was interested in talking with me, very interested, as in just checking in to potentially, definitely wanting to work with me on her next film, and that was it. I'm done. I'm sold. I don't care what it is. I didn't know what the material was. I mean, I think the extraordinary, amazingly raw and committed and explored performances of all of her characters in her film, male or female, it looked like a great acting experience. As an audience, it's the kind of thing you want to be part of, and as an actor, and I was in, and then the book, and then the story, and then Phil, and then the script. I mean, two gifts in one. She's immense, you know. She's a human being, and we have a relationship, and that means everything. It doesn't mean it's all plain sailing. It's a relationship, and yet, you know, when she first came to me, for the first conversation to the ones we have now, it's just been. I'm quite overwhelmed thinking about it. It's just been extraordinary, and it's very rare that you work with a director who really understands process and wants to facilitate it in a very gentle, controlling way, but wants to work in parallel with you to try and bring this very fragile, complex, difficult thing to life and honor it, honor the book, honor the character, and yet at the same time create something that's utterly about the compact between you both as artists. And it started with very roundabout conversations, looks at the period, the kind of sexuality she wanted to involve, the animalistic nature of men in that landscape, and the chaps and the weather and the nakedness. And you know, I knew it was going to be a Jane Campion film for sure, but then going into that with real delicacy, understanding each other, and just kind of meeting each other as people getting to know one another, but then wandering around a National Portrait Gallery and just picking up tiny kind of silhouettes or vignettes of a potential element of Bronco or an element of Phil or someone else in the story. And she was a great facilitator. You know, she had great faith that I could deliver, but she said, look, I understand if you're insecure about any of this, tell us what that is and we'll help you. And I went, well, Jane, the banjo, the whittling, the whistling, the accent, the horse riding, the macho, the branch riding, just the whole fucking thing. And so we were
very impressive.
But then we all went, right, okay, fine. But then let's go about making a pragmatic approach to how to give you some lived experience of something so far from your actual lived experience. So Montana, banjo lessons, amazing. Randy and his wife Jen, who held me out there and drove me around. He taught me braiding and treating of hide, cutting of it, everything, and roping itself once the thing's made. Which I didn't do in the film, thank God. And then other things I really had to sort of put other people through to run down, like one-handed cigarette running and whistling very loudly without my fingers, or whatever. Things I continually practice, and even on the first time of doing them, or the ultimate time of doing them, felt okay, I need a few goes at this to sort of own. And I would say the worst days on set were the first day of trying to own it and the last day of letting it go. that's how extraordinary the journey was with her and with this character. And
I know that takes such enormous commitment